everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood art teacher, Mrs. Kirkpatrick, and today we are going to make random weave dream catchers. Dream catchers are something that you can hang above your bed, and the folklore behind them says that all of the interwoven strings catch bad dreams and prevent them from getting to you when you're sleeping, and then the openings in between the strings allow the good dreams to come through. So today we are going to be creating these random weave dream catchers. I say random weave because it is not an organized pattern that we're going to be using. Some weavings that I know some of you know, because like circle weavings that we've done in 3rd grade have a pattern that goes over, under, over, and under. And if you try out the branch weaving this week, like this branch weaving right here, it has that same over-under pattern, but that is organized. Random weave, we are just going to be creating random string patterns, and there isn't going to be a pattern to this. So keep watching, and hopefully you'll get a chance to try making a random weave dream catcher too. My materials for this project were a long branch that's very flexible. I found a branch that has a lot of bend to it, so I can bend it into a full circle. And I also have yarn. You could use string, you could use, I have some jute cord or twine. So really anything that is like string that's strong enough to go back and forth between the branch should work for you. And I also have some scissors. So I'm gonna get started. I've already taken my yarn that I was using, and I've wrapped this long branch kind of the same way that exactly the same way as I wrapped some of my Magic Nature wands. So if you need to take a look at that video, you can go back and see lots of different ways of how to wrap a stick. You can come up with your own way too. So wrap this up. I left some parts where the branch was showing and some where it was totally covered, just because I like the way that looked. I've gotten to the end of this, so now I'm going to take this and bring it around. And I actually tested how far I could bend this before I started wrapping, and then I made a little mark on it with a pencil, so I knew that this was the spot that I was aiming to bring this branch around. So I'm going to take my end of my branch and I'm going to bring that back in place. And I'm just going to take my string and begin to wrap around both the end and the rest of the branch. So I'm checking to make sure that I can let go of where the end overlaps with itself and that I've wrapped enough to hold this together, and I have. So I am ready to tie a knot. I'm actually going to take another separate piece and tie a double knot around that end just to secure it a little bit further. All right, so I have the frame of my dream catcher. It is all wrapped, and I have this long extra piece on the branch. I'm not going to cut it or break it off yet because I'm really not sure if I want that to become part of a way that I hang this. So until I make that decision, I'm just going to let it be for now. I have this light purple yarn that I used for the outside, and it's part of this skein of yarn that I have. And I like it because it has some glitter in it. It has some sparkle, and I thought for a dream catcher that might be kind of cool. I'm going to switch my color though. So for the webbing of this dream catcher, I am going to switch to this, actually, you know what? I'm going to switch to this black yarn that I have just so it stands out a little differently. I've cut a piece and I've rolled it up in a neat little bundle, and I'm going to start by just tying a knot around one part of my dream catcher, securing that in place. And now I'm going to start my random weave. So to random weave, I'm just going to pick a spot across the frame somewhere, And I'm gonna wrap around one circle, just go around once, and now I'm gonna come back to another spot on my frame. And I'm just gonna keep doing this until I have enough lines to the point where I like the way it looks. All right, I have created this random weave pattern. I don't know if you can see all those lines that I created with this yarn. So I'm gonna take the end of my string that I used to create that woven pattern, and I'm just gonna tie it to the frame of the Dreamcatcher. Trim my knots. All right, so I have basically created a Dreamcatcher, but I want to add some extra elements to this. So one of the parts of the folklore in a Dreamcatcher is that it allows those good dreams to pass through all of these parts of the web, and then usually there's some kind of either feathers or tassels hanging down off the bottom of the Dreamcatcher, and the good dreams are supposed to kind of melt down and travel down those feathers so they can land on whoever is sleeping and give that person good dreams. So I am going to create a couple tassels. I don't have any feathers, but I do have some pieces of grass that I found when I was out looking for my sticks this week for my stick art. So I have some of these curly pieces of grass, some of the same ones I used here in my Magic Nature ones. I'm also going to use to create some tassels. So I am going to start off by just figuring out what I want to use. I'm not sure if I want to use these pieces of grass with the long plumes attached to them, the seeds attached, or if I just want to use some curly grass blades. I think I just want to use the grass blades, so I'm going to get those and bundle them together. All right, so I have 3 groups of my grass blades, and I'm going to bundle these together using some of the yarn I already have, same colors I already have. So I have some purple here. I'm going to start with the same purple that I used to wrap the frame of my Dreamcatcher. Just going to wrap this around. I'm just going to trap the end of the yarn so that I don't even have to tie a knot. All right, I have a little bit of yarn left. I'm going to add on to this with some of my black color. Same thing, I'm not even going to tie a knot yet. I'm just going to trap the end. Now, if it's easier for you to tie a knot first, then do that. Make this work for you. And you don't even have to use grasses that you find. You can find feathers, you can have other things you add, and I'm going to show you how to make some yarn tassels in a moment. I'm going to finish this with some of my darker purple jute twine. And these are just things that I had in my house, art supplies that I had around. So I'm making it work with what I have. So you can make it work with what you have too. So this is going to have 3 colors on the end of it here. Last color is going to be this purple. Taking my time. These blades of grass are actually sharp, kind of. I could get a paper cut if I'm not careful. So I'm being a little bit careful here. All right, this is all wrapped up. So I'm going to tie a knot to finish it. And there is my grass tassel. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2 groups. And once I have all 3, I'm going to come back and show you how to add these to the frame of my Dreamcatcher. Hey everyone, so I wanted to share with you my finished random weave Dreamcatcher, and I really like how this turned out. So if you get a chance to try this, if you can find one of those flexible branches, and you can wrap it up. I really want you to try it. It was really fun. So here you can see my finished frame, and then here's all the finished tassels that I added on. So I have 3 bunches of the natural grasses that I bundled together, and I used the 3 different types of yarn, but you could use anything really. You don't have to do multiple colors. And then here's the tassels that I made. I created these. I followed the directions in the video that I included in your slides for week 5. So if you want to see how to make a tassel the way I tried to do it, you can take a look at that video. They did a good job explaining it. If you know how to make tassels other ways, my goodness, you can do it your way. I'm just trying to share a couple ideas. So this hopefully will get you going in a good direction. I tied a piece of yarn on so that I could hang this, and I think it's really cool. So this is my finished random weave dream catcher, and I wish you the best of luck making yours, and I will see you next week.